What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the OddsShopper channel, coming to you with a Week 17 edition of Sunday NFL Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Sunday, we got a lot of football to cover. Not as much as normal because, well, football occurred on Wednesday. 2 games there. We had a game on Thursday night. We had 3 games on Saturday. If you are watching this here on Friday evening or Saturday morning, don't forget, Saturday, NFL Lindy's. That is available here also on the channel. Hopefully, if you're watching this after the fact, we cashed some tickets together. Go Kyron Williams running the ball that direction. But we're going to go into Sunday's in-depth analysis, and we got some weather spots. We got a couple of really low totals on the board here as it cools down, and also teams start to pack it in, or we might be getting some real dustiness here. Joe Flacco versus Drew Lock, Mason Rudolph versus Mac Jones. My head hurts having looked at this slate, but we don't have any locks on the slate, but we do have a ton of plays. A lot of things that I've already bet, things that I think are also going to be pick'em applicable if you're listening for those purposes. Here to help you in all the ways. And obviously I can do that in the premium Discord, Lindy50, down at the link below. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But producer Jacob, without further ado, it's Sunday, baby. Well, it's actually Friday when I'm recording. It's actually like 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on Friday. Let's get to the picks. We begin our boarding walk in Buffalo. The Jets, Jets, Jets have been Terrible. I think I spelled terrible right. But anyway, they're taking on Buffalo in this spot. And one of the weirder games that I can remember in a long, long time. You just kind of assumed coming off of turf. Josh Allen would just keep things going here, even in Buffalo, back in his home corridor. But this further proves the point that they should build a dome in Buffalo, and they would probably be looking at Super Bowls galore in the next 5 to 10 years with Josh Allen staying healthy. Just silliness. When your team's constructed to play fast and constructed to be offensively centric, whatever. It's Buffalo, I get it. But we've got ourselves the Jets. They're still playing for something. It's called a job for Aaron Rodgers and jobs for everybody else. I hate those narratives. I try not to talk about them too much, although sometimes you do bubble wrap some of your superiors like CeeDee Lamb and company here for Dallas. And sometimes you start looking forward to next year and developing guys and trying to work with what you got in-house and seeing what you need in the draft. So lots of things that the Jets will still be out there trying to figure out. But I look at the defense here. Obviously, there is lots of concern that I have if Sauce Gardner is out going up against this Buffalo team, because Sauce Gardner, despite the fact that the Jets have been bottom 3 in EPA over the course of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks combined here since week 7, you're still going to see the Jets go out and give them their best. And you got a guy in DJ Reed on one side. And if it ends up being Brandon Echols having to play a bunch of snaps against Mac Hollins or Keon Coleman, I might actually back Mac Hollins and Keon Coleman to some extent. So gotta say, there's a lot of news that can still break, but with Mosley on the IR, this Jets defense is just decrepit. But they also have 2 offensive linemen, Simpson and Vera Tucker, that are dinged up, that are questionable entering this one, and they're top 15 in WAR over on PFF grading. So those are definitely question marks I'm going to be paying attention to, and that's why I haven't bet anything here yet. But I think Davante Adams, no matter what, is somewhat interesting at plus 165, and everybody's focusing on the Buffalo side, as they should be. You're seeing an MVP caliber season for Josh Allen. James Cook is getting things done on the ground, and even Ray Davis behind him. Ty Johnson's had some breakout spots, but it's rainy, it's windy, about 15 miles per hour going across the field. I had to look that up for longer than I'm proud of. Windfinder.com screwing up my Buffalo stuff. But Davante Adams is currently plus 165 here at DraftKings. That gets to like plus 175. I think I'm going to pull the trigger for a small play. 5 consecutive weeks, that is, with a touchdown catch. Davante Adams, every single game in December so far, he's found the end zone. Pretty surprising. Nothing says points like Tennessee at Jacksonville. Mason Rudolph, Mac Jones, what a time to be alive. But I think this is kind of an advantageous spot. This is similar. It's kind of trappy if we're being honest, but similar to that Vegas spot going up against Jacksonville, where I thought there's no way that this game is going to go under. And then I remembered, well, it was Vegas and Jacksonville and turnovers happened. And it just seemed like there were 4 or 5 turnovers in the red zone. That's the absolute stone cold worst when you're holding over tickets. That's for sure. And obviously the public has bet this one down here to this point. I totally get it, but I think Mac Jones still wanting to get Brian Thomas involved there, and why not? It's making him look good. Brian Thomas, you already look good. You've had an unbelievable season. And Calvin Ridley goes back to the team that ended up ditching him, although they gave him a second chance after all of the gambling things and stuff that happened there. Oh, yeah, this is a gambling show. Let's continue on. We've got ourselves over to 39.5. This is inside of minus 110 right now, and that's the main culprit. I think there's going to be enough, whether it's Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, that gets done on the ground here against Jacksonville, and quarterbacks, even the likes of Mason Rudolph, I think can find success against Jacksonville's secondary. And the inverse is kind of true here too. Tennessee starting to pack it in a little bit more. Again, I don't like those narratives, yet I'm utilizing them. However, Tennessee's defense isn't all that good anymore. North Carolina, come on and raise up. Take your shirt off, twist it around your head. You're probably playing football without Chuba Hubbard on Sunday, more than likely. Chuba dinged up, questionable on the old injury report. Haven't gotten finalization on whether he plays or not, but based on the contract and everything else, I got to think that if he's actually dinged up, there is not a chance in God's green earth that he is going to see the field. Whereas like a James Conner, maybe he wasn't actually that dinged up. They took a look at everything. Hey, you want to go play football? Go have fun. Plus, it's like getting towards the tail end for James Conner. You're seeing absolute gas from Chuba Hubbard. We backed him successfully at times this season, also unsuccessfully once in the lock category. That was unfun. But I will say this, Carolina, still not stopping anything on the ground. James Conner was able to run all over them in one half of football, basically, and before having to get removed from that game. And Carolina, they did the same thing back to Arizona. It was fascinating to watch, but I think this game is fascinating for one spot and one spot alone. The Bucky Irving versus Rachaad White timeshare. We saw a ridiculous, stupid as all hell fumble from Rachaad White to finish out that Cowboys game. And I got to think that there is some penalization coming towards his workload with how good Bucky Irving's been the last couple of weeks and how stupid he looked carrying the ball with one hand and then fumbling it all over the place. So it was ridiculous. And I don't know what to make of it, but it seems like the market's already kind of reacted to what I think happens. And that's that Rachaad White gets almost entirely benched. Now, I'm not so convinced of it. And obviously, Carolina, this is one of those spots where you could be up 2-3 touchdowns. And then you get Rachaad White involved a little bit more or Sean Tucker involved a little bit more. But I think from the get-go here, you're trying to win your division, trying to close things out in the NFC South, which right now they're kind of primed to do. I mean, Tampa Bay, they're on the outside looking in 8-7 here in their division. Still some things that can take place here with the Falcons now in the driver's seat, but Falcons have a little bit more interesting football game coming up later here against Washington, where both teams really want to be winning that one. I think Tampa Bay goes all out with their star back, Bucky Irving, over 100-plus rush plus receiving yards. It's a little bit high for my liking. Haven't bet it yet. I'm interested in it. That's why it's the lean over in the corner. But Bucky Irving, 100-plus, and then under for Rachaad White. One of my favorite things to do. If you get single-game parlays that aren't going to be completely vigged out of control, I think you got to look at combining the two together, because when one hits, the other one is very likely to hit, especially at these type of numbers. The Vegas Raiders taking on the New Orleans Saints, and New Orleans put up the first zero ball of the entire NFL season against Green Bay. That was just obvious as all hell. I wish I had bet the zero. I just jammed minus 14 Green Bay. That was fun for everybody involved. Remember, Mr. Brooks, plus 650. I wish I had seen plus 650. That would have been great. But anywho, we made a lot of money on the Monday, which bailed me out because Thursday was terrible. But now we're going to take Vegas here going up against New Orleans. This is a secondary without Marshawn Lattimore. I mean, they're not good. They're really, really bad. And we're seeing a 37.5 total here in a dome. Like, there's weather spots that exist. Obviously, we're going to see a little bit of rain up in the Northeast. We're going to see some wind for sure to a certain extent. Not anything crazy, not the 25-30 where it really starts affecting the passing game. But this is a 37.5 in a dome. What are we actually doing here? But that kind of tells you how bad Spencer Rattler. I didn't even get the right quarterback. The Ritter's on the other team, which is kind of insane. But it's going to be Aiden O'Connell that's going to get the start here. Yet again, he's looked okay back there against Jacksonville. Didn't have to do much to be effective there and win. 24 for 38. Obviously was hoping to cash that over. But yeah, turnovers in the red zone. That's a confirmed thing for me. But in this spot, one thing to play for. Brock Bowers has been just an unbelievable tight end rookie. And with some of the Puka Nacua numbers, Brian Thomas coming alive, we want some of these rookies to be making major statement games. And why not give Brock Bowers all the run and all the land here? He's an SEC guy going into Louisiana, Georgia. He has the familiarity playing there, Superdome time. I don't know what any of that means, but what I do know is that I model this out, and plus money on over 6.5 catches is very, very appealing. Once again, haven't bet it yet, so it's got to have the lean attached to it, but there's so many interesting bets and kind of want to get some confirmation on a couple of injuries across the entire board. Nothing crazy here. We know Max Crosby is going to be out. That's definitely beneficial to the Saints, and with McCoy out at center for the Saints, I mean, this game probably isn't going to be pushing anything. 37.5 total in a dome. Wild stuff. Dallas at Philly coming up next, and I think this is probably the total that if you just dropped yourself into the middle of this video and you didn't have any context for what was going on, you would say, why is this a 38.5 total? Well, I'll tell you. First off, on the Cowboys side, CeeDee Lamb, shoulder. He's going to just sit out the next 2 games. Completely makes sense. He's getting paid way too much money there in Jerry World to go get dinged up in a meaningless game against Philly. Those are the kind of veteran things that are going to happen as we get later into this. Not even just veteran, but he's one of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL when healthy, and that shoulder has been messed up almost the entire season, had some inconsistencies, and obviously Cooper Rush is his quarterback right now, so that's not helping things either. Speaking of quarterbacks, the Philadelphia Eagles more than likely going to be playing this one without Jalen Hurts, who is still, as of recording this, not out of concussion protocol. It's really unlikely, I think, coming off of that hit that we saw against Washington, he sits out of that one, that we don't see Kenny Pickett behind center. So with that being said, it's a downgrade across the board here to the passing game, to the rushing game, to everything defensively, although Micah Parsons dinged up here as well. So it's kind of a little bit of push and pull scenario. Obviously, a quarterback is going to move a line more than anything else here in football. And with Smith questionable there on the offensive line as well for the Cowboys, with Kendricks on the defensive side there's just so much stuff that can happen here that is not positive for either football team. But with Jalen Hurts questionable on the injury report, again, I repeat, it would surprise me to see him out there. And with that and a division rivalry, I want to at least give the people who are only betting spreads or totals something here on this video rather than just running down the train here with props. Dallas plus 7.5 is intriguing. At BetMGM, they're giving you that half point extra. Do your shopping. It's called OddsShopper for a reason. Shop your odds. It's the easiest thing you can do to improve your ROI. And when we're talking the difference between 7 and 7.5, that is a metric ton in the sports betting space. Dallas plus 7.5. I think it's usable. I haven't bet it personally, which is why I have to put the half little lean there, but it's positive EV and technically my favorite spread on Sunday. Wowzer. Also, wowzer, Lindy 50 down at the link below. Get yourself 50% off your first week or your first month of the premium Discord down below. You can sign up for OddsShopper over in the App Store or Google Play Store. You can have this as a companion app with the tails. You see on the right side of your screen, Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. That's the package that you will sign up for, and 50% off using code Lindy50 when you do. Then, what do you get from it? Well, you're going to get at least 3 plays a day from me, which, again, usually ends up being way, 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 way more. I'm posting well ahead of time of this video, so you're getting all of these plays first come, first serve, and we'll talk you through the process of it. You have direct access to me to talk through all of my plays at any point in time or to pitch your plays, because I always enjoy that as well. We also have a DFS channel talking daily fantasy sports there in the NFL streets, and, well, we'll also be diving into the NBA streets once the NFL concludes here or slows down a little bit, because I'm focused on the cash games for the people there. And all of that can be yours for $10 for your first week or $25 for your first month. That's less than $1 a day to come hang out with me right now at the link below. And hey, you have the Discord compatibility with it too. Awesome, awesome time to be alive. Alrighty, back to the picks we go. Yeah, Anthony Richardson's probably not playing football on Sunday, and Drew Lock is for the Giants. That's interesting. So who's playing quarterback for the Colts? Well, if you'll remember, Joe Flacco more than likely going to go out there and gunsling it against the Giants, and 40.5 total, kind of staying strong. That should tell you something about New Orleans and Vegas. That should tell you something about some of these other bitterly low totals. Dallas at Philly underwater there, but we got ourselves New York and Drew Lock. Blake Neighbors also questionable. I think that could really ding up and muck up this game, but I tried to lock something for the people. I tried to leap from my chair, get on my app, sign up, get everything done that I needed to get on multiple different spots, and fire Josh Downs props as soon as I saw Anthony Richardson was not practicing and was on the sideline here on Friday. Why is that? Well, because Josh Downs is way better. Way better. Some of his splits way different with Joe Flacco, a pass-first happy quarterback with basically nothing to offer with his legs. That is an incredible upgrade in terms of passing expectation. Maybe not the win expectation based on what we saw, but I want everybody to remember a couple of things about Joe Flacco. He got thrown into the absolute den of a schedule. At Jacksonville, pretty, meh, but at Tennessee, at Minnesota, then took on Buffalo at home. It's a pretty tough run to be on the road there for 3 consecutive games and then go into take on Buffalo on turf, which I think we've seen. They're pretty good there, just throwing it out there. So Joe Flacco, he's going to be out there slinging it here on Sunday more than likely. And I think Josh Downs, I saw 43.5 for his receiving yard prop, and that was minus 114 at FanDuel. I saw that, and then it got ripped off the board. I am in so much pain. But Josh Downs, 10-9-9. Those are his last 3 targets, last 3 games with Joe Flacco in terms of target share. Putting him in for 9 targets here against a Giants secondary and plus 250 exists on the board on FanDuel for anytime touchdown. It's the only thing we can really find. So in the meantime, while I'm waiting for some of these receiving props to come back, and please don't be over 50 yards. Please don't be over 50 yards. I will jam it if it's less than 50 yards. But Josh Downs, touchdown, plus 250 on FanDuel, half unit. At a niche. Sorry, Miami minus 6.5 taking on Cleveland in this one. And Devon Achane, by now, hopefully you are aware how much I love this man. And he respects coin. He absolutely had no business scoring that touchdown in that last game for us. But of course, got up to plus 105 for a second over on FanDuel, and he runs it to the house. They end up taking down San Francisco. We absolutely needed it. We needed that so badly for Sunday. And it really led us into a profitable situation in the Discord with Joe Burrow over 2.5 touchdown passes with the T. Higgins right off the bat touchdown. That was beautiful stuff too. But that was week 16. This is week 17 here. Well, I kind of want Cincy to do good things again, but target Chase Brown on Saturday, please. But we got ourselves Devon Achane here, and he just continues to be one of the best, most elusive backs here in the NFL. And Miami, still some stuff to play for. That never hurts anything. It's unlikely that we're going to see them here in the playoffs, but 12% chance with a win of making the postseason. So you're saying there's a chance. Yeah. You guys know what I'm going to do. I'm going to find something for Devon Achane that I like. Minus 165, not going to do it in the anytime touchdown here right now. Waiting for some more numbers to come there, but over 58.5 rushing yards, getting all of the work. 17 carries against San Francisco. This seems like another one of those spots, friends. Seems like another one of those spots where they're just going to ride him into the sunset. Also, with Jayden Waddle questionable yet again, more unlikely to sit than not. Devon Achane, you want out there to help stretch the field in terms of what he can do in the passing game, but the rushing yards, that's what I'm really targeting against Cleveland. Should have also said Dorian Thomas-Robinson. He's going to be starting that game. Have fun, Cleveland. Enjoy that one again. They hate fun. We all want Jameis Winston. But this is the game of Sunday, not just because I'm a Viking fan, but because, well, it's got the biggest implications of just about anything. Minnesota, the 13-2 Minnesota Vikings. It's insane. Taking on the Green Bay Packers, who, well, I'm pretty happy. I'm very happy, actually, about what we just saw from them. I hate to say it, but this line is kind of wrong. I can't do it. It's going to be a lean for me, but it's positive EV, I think, to be backing the Green Bay Packers. Josh Jacobs should be able to get something done against Minnesota there. Jordan Love continues to look better and better and better. I go back to that week 1 injury, the fluke injury that kind of put things in disarray. I mean, they found ways to make Malik Willis useful there in the time off, basically there, like 1.5 games, 2 games, basically. But Green Bay, friends, I think on a neutral field, they're definitely the better team between the two. The NFC North is just an absolute gauntlet. And obviously, I don't want this to be the case. I would like Minnesota to take down the W, but we've gotten way too many good run good. I mean, not to the point of the Kansas City Chiefs, but lots of games that We've struggled in first halves. You do that against Green Bay here and allow them to establish the run with Josh Jacobs, we're going to be in a world of hurt. So Green Bay, money line at even money, currently available at BetMGM and Bet365. Damn good. I'm not going to say it there because I don't want this to happen. And to the late night hammer, Atlanta at Washington. Huge game, tons of playoff implications in this one. Obviously, Green Bay and Minnesota, they're both locked into a playoff spot. So, I mean, that doesn't matter. But Commanders can 100% put the gauntlet down here. 94% chance to make the playoffs with a win here. Or sorry, as of right now, it is 100% chance that they win this football game. Yeah, they're going to go out of their way to try to win a football game. I don't think that that's going to surprise anybody. But let's talk about Michael Penix and what we saw. I think it was a lot better than what talking heads on the ESPN programs want you to believe. I thought Michael Penix played great. He didn't have to do much. You had Bijan Robinson just doing his thing out there, living his life because he's got to know. And there's so many ways that Michael Penix is going to be improved as time goes on. This is a very difficult spot. First off, Drake London, hamstring injury. I think he's going to be off the injury report by the time that comes out here later this evening. But even still, Marshawn Lattimore confirmed a thing here for Washington. He has looked really, really, really good in a Commanders uniform. It really behooved the Commanders to sit and wait with their young quarterback, say, hey, go win us a couple of football games here in the interim while we wait for this stud that we traded for here in the secondary to show up. And well, I think that ended up being a really good decision. Now, Terry McLaurin is questionable for this one. I think that really, really kind of makes things interesting as well. And for what it's worth, Marshawn Lattimore questionable as well in this one. But I think there's a lot of ways that passing just kind of fails in this game. First off, looks like it's going to be raining. It's going to be 64 degrees at kickoff. I mean, that's like as warm of a temperature as I can remember seeing, like Washington, D.C. area for December, what is it, 27? December 29th here in the evening. But I look at this rain and it's got me a little bit concerned because it looks like it's a higher chance of precipitation than some of these other spots, like the Buffalo spot, like the Jacksonville spot, like the Tampa Bay and Carolina spot, where it looks like it'll be a little bit windy too. I think we're going to see some struggles in the passing game. First off, Noah Brown, we know he's on IR here for Washington, and they've gotten stuff out of Elidmus Zaccheaus. They've gotten some really surprising performance, I would say, across the board from these ancillary wide receivers, the other guy being a Diami Brown, not Noah Brown. But I think Zach Ertz is going to get a little bit more involved still, but shorter ADOT stuff. I don't think they're going to really be able to stretch the field on Jesse Bates, who's out there playing some unbelievable football in that Falcons secondary. I like underpassing for both of these guys. Jane Daniels under 228.5. I think they can establish the run and be all right. Michael Penix under 203.5. I think they're going to try to establish the run. Whether they're successful at that or not, I'm not sure. But I want to at least point out Michael Penix looked a lot better for me. Haven't bet this one yet, but I do think shorting passing here in this spot is probably going to be my move. And that does it for a Week 17 NFL Sunday edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Head to the comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays on the board for Sunday slate. I'll be bringing Monday Night Football to you as well. Our last Monday Night Football game, I believe, of the entire season, which is kind of insane to say out loud. And now I got like the Sunday scaries on Friday. Lindy50, if you guys want to sign up down below, would love to see you in the Discord. Thank you, producer Jacob. Good to have him back. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NFL streets on Sunday.